I want to start without Underhill, you know what I mean?
Was that?
I want to start without Underhill. I want to give him an opportunity to get over here.
If they weren't live, I would say
I'm sure he's got a lot of good stuff for us.
If they weren't live, I'd say screw him. But
All right, guys. Look, I thought, obviously we just played yesterday, and yet our guys were out here today working. I thought we got a lot of good work, a lot of good situational work. We were out here in shells. And so, look, I thought, it's hard to get yourself back up and ready to go the day after playing a game. And yet, got a lot of guys that probably only got about, 8 to 10 snaps. So for those guys, it wasn't a grind. But for some of these guys that got, 30 plus snaps in the game, it was a grind on them today. So they'll be off tomorrow. I think after going back and looking at the tape, I thought there was a number of things that we did well. There's certainly a lot of things that we've got to improve on. Look, I don't think anybody had any false notion about there's going to be a transition offensively. With a new scheme, some new players, new play caller. I mean, all those things are just part of the reality of when you have that much turnover. And so, did we execute at the level that we wanted to on every play? No. But yet, to me, that's your first shot out. And hopefully as we continue to go, that the next time we get an opportunity to go out there and play under the lights, we'll be better in that situation. I thought early on defensively, like I said after the game, I thought we did a good job of stopping the run. I thought we did a good job of getting after the quarterback, and I don't think we did as good a job, as the game wore on, being able to do some of those things. So, but for a first preseason game, I thought there was a lot of good, and yet I think today there were some tough meetings. Guys had to kind of come in with some thick skin and be able to accept the coaching. The good thing about our guys is I think they were able to do that, and understand the corrections that we need to have made, and we started on that process today. So, what you got for me?
What did you guys think about the offensive line after getting the chance to look at it?
Look, I think exactly what I said. I mean, I think there was some good. I think there's some things that need to be improved. I thought the first play of the game looked like what I wanted it to look like. I thought that was an outside zone where we got movement, we got push. I thought Alvin did a great job on his track, hitting it, and then one cut running. So, that looked like what I anticipate things looking like. I don't think the consistency was where we needed to be. I think there's some things that we got to keep working on in terms of protection. But I think it looked like a first preseason game with a bunch of new pieces. And so now, how do we improve from there?
Without joint practices, how does that change your approach to the game this weekend, and also how you approach practice?
Well, look, Kyle and I just really, he reached out to me yesterday, making me aware that they got some things going on there in terms of having enough able bodies to have some good practices, and I think we just confirmed it this afternoon right before we started practice here. So I really haven't even thought about how that's going to affect what we do. I mean, obviously we're going to be practicing against ourselves for the next 4 days, and I think we'll probably take some of that planned work that we had against the 49ers and we'll take the skeleton of that and just utilize that to work against ourselves. But I really hadn't put any thought into how that affects anything else other than that.
Disappointing?
Well, look, I mean, yeah, I mean, you want to, I enjoy, the joint practices. I think it's good to get, up against somebody else. But, other than that, I mean, we're still going to get some good work here. So, not really that concerned about it.
Did y'all come out pretty healthy yesterday?
Yeah, I think for the most part we did. I don't know that we had any significant injuries. Normal kind of bumps and bruises and strains and things like that you come out of a normal game with. But I think overall, where our health was going in and where our health was coming out, I think it's relatively the same.
Is Shaq Davis a guy that y'all have kind of kept tabs on throughout the offseason before bringing him back?
No, not really. I mean, he's a guy that obviously we knew about, and we felt good about him, after last season, and really wanted to bring him back, and he had an opportunity to go to Philly. I can't remember exactly what all the details were, but felt like that was an opportunity for him that he wanted to take advantage of, and yet it didn't work out there. And I think in particular with where we were from a depth, point on the roster, receiver wise, we were looking for some able bodies, and so we were excited about being able to bring him in. We'll try to get him acclimated into the offense as quickly as we can, and try to get him going.
D.A. Spencer wasn't out rattling. Is that the normal bumps and bruises?
Yeah, thigh contusion. I don't expect it to be anything. He was fighting to get out here to practice, so I think probably more precautionary measure on our training staff's part.
On the second series, that 1st and 10 rep with looked like maybe Penning got beat. I don't know the responsibilities for sure, but like what's kind of like the coaching point there for him? Was like his leverage not what it needed to be, or?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into all the details of what we're teaching from a technique standpoint or from a schematic standpoint. Look, I would say there was some good things that Trevor did. I think there's some things that he's still got to work to improve on. It's his first, game playing right tackle, so I'm not overly concerned about that right now. And yet, I think we all understand that we've got to improve, and that's what we'll be out here working to do.
Yeah, Duke Manyweather, like the guy you worked with in the offseason, tweeted that like he didn't see a player like trusting himself with this technique at all. Like, did you?
Yeah, look, there definitely was some. I saw some things that I hadn't necessarily seen out here every day at practice from a technique and fundamental standpoint. Yeah, and so I think that's the key is for all of these guys, and in particular, guys that are trying to establish themselves, is like you see these things out here at practice, and you see the fundamentals, you see the technique, you see the improvement, and then you want to make sure that you're able to kind of see the same thing in the stadium, under the lights, all those kinds of things. So I chalk it up really to a first preseason game, and let's see how we improve from here.
When you went back and looked at AT's game, did you see kind of the things you
Yeah,
talked
look,
about?
I mean, yeah, I saw some good things out of AT. Some routes, catching the ball. Not only did he have the explosive play in the 2-minute, he drew the pass interference penalty down the field. Caught a nice, red zone kind of fade stop play, and so look, I saw a willingness to go in there and block, and yet I'd still like to see him finish better on those things. And I would say after, we had some guys go down, so there's more opportunities for him. The positive is he took advantage of those opportunities, and so and that's what you have to do out here at training camp. Whatever opportunities you have, you got to be able to take advantage of it, and he did that.
Vince, is the plan with Kool-Aid still working both inside and outside, or was that kind of a fact of the injuries y'all had at corner?
Yeah, the plan's working him inside and outside.
What did you think of his
Look, I thought there were some plays, in particular in the first half. I thought there was an increased sense of urgency, tenacity, style of play. A couple of mistakes there to open up the third quarter. A couple of things he could have done better there. But I would say I saw signs of the type of player that I think we can have, and in particular early on in that game.
Was there any thoughts of trying to still have joint practices with another team that's around the area? Is that hard to do it this late?
Well, answer to your question is it's more challenging to do. The thoughts crossed my mind. I don't know where any of these other teams are in terms of what they got going on. I'm pretty sure the Rams kind of have practices set up with everybody. Nothing's been discussed with anybody. So, again, like I said, we just finalized this right before we walked out onto the practice field. So we got a day off tomorrow. We'll kind of look and see what it looks like and see what's best for us in terms of practice, and we'll be back out here practicing on Tuesday.
So I guess that's TBD then.
TBD. I don't anticipate practicing against anybody.
With AT, Jake Hainer was kind of saying that he might be the type of guy who's just like gamer, for the lack of a better word, that he plays better in games than he does practice. As a kind of smirk there, but as a coach, is that even possible, or is that how do you?
I've heard the term.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to say that I'm going to just go through practice and then I'm going to show up on a game. I don't believe that happens. Some people are talented enough to show up on game day and perform at an above average level. But I don't think you can just get through practice and then show up on game day and be at your best for your team. I don't think it happens that way. So now, there's a competitive nature and things that come out, on game day. But I think you got to practice. I think you got to perform in practice. And I think when you do that, you generally perform better on game days.
What are some of the things you feel like you potentially lose with not having those joint practices?
Yeah, I think just the ability to go against somebody else, see some different schemes, go against some different people. I think that's what you lose. I think we have good practices out here. I think we have a lot of intensity in practice out here. And so, look, I think anytime you get a chance to kind of change some things up a little bit, it kind of reinvigorates, creates a little bit more focus, some of those things. But I don't look at this as any major deal.
Some players have said in the past that they like the controlled environment of joint practices, I guess, versus the game. Is that something that appeals to you?
Yeah, look, I mean, I like the joint practices, and getting an opportunity to work against other teams. It's not the same as a game. A game's a game.
The biggest difference, I guess, would be the possibility of the quarterback getting injured in a game.
Yeah.
Versus
Yeah.
what you're doing out here.
Yeah. And yet, you have to get yourself ready to play the game. So, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time concerning myself with whether or not we're having joint practices. We're going to get good work out here, and get ourselves ready for the regular season.
Is there any concern with, obviously, I guess not, Jake Hainer and his stitches and everything going in that game? Or was it something you all thought he needed to work?
No, not really. Not on my part. I think I feel like we had a good plan. I feel like everybody was on the same page, and I feel like based on the information that I had, at least from the medical people, that we operated, pretty standard operating procedure as far as what we did there, and so I didn't really have any concern. And I can't speak for him, but based on the way he played, I don't think he had a lot of concern either.
Well, yeah, when you watch tape of the game now, him and Spencer both.
I thought both of them did some good things. I thought both of them operated out there with poise. Both guys, led a 2-minute drive, which resulted in points for our team. I think both of them had some things just from an operational standpoint that we can improve on. But I was pleased with what I saw out of both those guys. And now, okay, how do we build on it? Where do we go from here? How do we get better next week? So I expect both of those guys to again get some significant playing time in this upcoming preseason game, and I expect both of them to learn from whatever mistakes they made and improve on them.
You think you have a better feel for if you have a backup quarterback? I know you said that.
Yeah, but I think we're talking about, call it a dozen practices and one preseason game, So let's put some days and some games and stack them a little bit, and we'll evaluate where we're at. I'm encouraged. I really am. But I'm not in a place to make any decisions on that right now. I'm encouraged by what I saw out of both those guys, and I want both those guys to continue to go out there, and compete. And so, and that's what they'll do.
There were a few new absences today with guys like Millard Bradford, Mac McCain, Isaiah Stallberg, and Khalil Hudson. Anything of significance with any of those?
All really just kind of post-game bumps and bruises. We'll see how long that they're out, if it's any extended period of time or not. But I don't anticipate. I think a Stallberg's an ankle. It's probably the longest of what those injuries could possibly be. All right. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
Yes, sir.
So, Monty,
What's up?
hey, after kind of joining the team kind of middle of the way through last year, kind of having to just kind of adjust on the fly, what's it been like for you having like the full off season, knowing where you're going to be, kind of getting a chance to learn this defense a little bit?
I mean, it's been a great opportunity to learn, a new system, new scheme, being around DeMario, Pete, DJ, all those guys, Nephi, Coach Hodges, they put a lot of effort, into what they do, and, it's only going to help me grow,
And what has it been like in that linebacker room? It seems like a lot of guys involved, good competition, guys.
Yeah, I mean, like, that just goes back to, like, my college days. Like, we had a stacked room then, and I think it just, it brings out the best in everyone, and eventually everyone's going to get to go to where they want to go,
Yeah.
But I think it's important to have that level of competition in the room because it keeps everybody in a growing nature. Like Coach Rizzi says, like beginner's mentality,
It was kind of your focus then, when you're in a stacked room, and you kind of had that competitive mindset.
Like I said, man, I'm used to competition. It's really not a big deal to me, but, it's important to learn from all those guys because, stuff that I lack in my game, I can look at DeMario's game or Pete's game and be like, okay, I see why they do that, and I see, they're successful, obviously. So, I can maybe add some pieces to my game as well.
How do you feel the new offensive system that's being deployed matches up to some of the other systems you played against throughout your career?
Well, I would say like it's new for me. This is one of the better. I almost gave away some scheme there, but it's different. As far as a lot of. Next question. I don't want to give away anything.
Just your impressions of what the offense is and what it's like to go up against it. Just in terms of.
I mean, it's fun. You know, like I said, I'm just in a learning mindset, a growing mindset, so that's what matters most.
Hey, how would you describe Willie Gay's energy?
Man, Willie got energy every day, man. So, you know, he wake me up, you know, but that's always good to have because, you know, like Hodges and DeMario say, linebackers, we the coffee, you know. We got to get it going, you know. When it's hot outside, everybody tired, we sore, you know. That don't matter for us. We the coffee. We got to get going.
You a coffee guy?
No. Actually, you know, I do like drinking chai lattes now, yeah.
There you go. What are your impressions of Michael Hodges as well? That you've gotten a little bit extra time with him now. that
Man,
he's back.
a great dude, a great coach, you know, really tries to bring the best out of you, you know, really good with like technique and fundamentals, like really breaks down you as a player and just wants to add those little fine pieces because those little fine pieces at this level mean a big deal, you know. So I think he does a good job of that.
I feel like there's a real kind of attention to detail from a lot of these position coaches. Would you say that's true for Hodges as well?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you. Good dog.
Okay.
You want me to hold your drink?
Strawberry lemonade.
Carl, just how encouraged were you guys by? It seemed like pass rush was pretty good yesterday. So how encouraged was it to put that on a game?
I told y'all before that we was gonna come. You know, we've been waiting for this package, but like it started up front. We started off fast as a defense. We got 3 and outs, and we was ready to play. So, in order to get after the quarterback, we got to stop the run, and that's what we did.
Carl, we just heard this, so we can't deny it. How disappointed are you in not having joint practice?
Man, I'm very disappointed. You know, I love competing. That's what camp is all about, is to compete against other people. So the good thing is we could get better and work on ourselves and continue to compete against each other and go out there on Saturday, Sunday, whenever the game is against 49ers, and then take it out to them.
Probably, I mean, we heard you say some good stuff about Chase Young in the past. Now that you've had like an opportunity to practice next to him for a couple of weeks to see what he can do, I mean, what's been like the main takeaway for you?
Yeah, it's been a journey. You know, this is the beginning of the journey. We still learning each other. We figuring each other out as a defense. And like you said, Chase Young. But we got other players, Brian Bazee. We got a nice D-line. So if we come with the intensity every game and start off fast, we're going to be good. But Chase, I've been seeing some great things out of him. We've been learning off each other, pass rush, continue to get better every day.
Carl, it seems like you improve every single year. What's the next level look like for you?
Right now, shoot, I'm just focusing on staying consistent, and I'm doing that by every day coming to practice, ready to work, and bringing the intensity. So that's just what I'm working on now, bringing the intensity, getting the guys fired up, and just ready to compete every day.
How do you maintain the intensity? What are you doing to kind of keep that level up?
Yeah, so I'm just doing whatever it takes off the field. You know, film section, the extra studying, you know, being around my teammates, and then just getting better, taking care of my body, getting treatment, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Since your rookie year to now, just how much better have you gotten at studying the game and knowing how to watch film and all that
I
stuff?
got a lot better. You know, it took me a while to find out, you know, myself and learn the watch film. You know, coming out of college, you really don't know how to watch film. You just go out there and play. So the NFL is you got to be a professional athlete, and each day you got to get better and better. So after my first year, my second year, and my third year, I've been getting better and better, watching my keys, just watching me and seeing what I got to do to improve my game.
How'd you learn how to get better at that? Is that working with other guys, coaches? Just kind of what was that process?
Yeah, just going into the off season, I realized, you know, every off season I get better. I see things that I've never seen during the season. So that's what I focus on the off season with, critiquing that, and then go into the next season with it in the back of my head, so I could just keep on working it throughout the season.
You got brought up for Z, and when you got a guy who's like bringing like the interior pressure, what does that do for y'all in the end?
Say that again.
When you got a guy like Preseason who's bringing the interior pressure, like how does that help y'all in the end?
Yeah, it helped us a lot on the edge, you know, because it fleshed the quarterback out. So, like I said, we got a lot of guys. We got Shep, Bazee. Our whole D line is gonna be a beast. So we just got to learn how to work together and pass rush together, so we can create that pressure inside, so they can flush them out to the DN. So, but like I said, in order to get after the quarterback, we got to stop him up front. So we started off fast last game. We just got to keep it rolling now.
And like, obviously, I'm assuming that's been a huge emphasis for y'all after some of the run defense struggles last year. Like, how do you think y'all have done?
Yeah,
showed up?
I mean, it should be a huge emphasis, you know, to not let your opponent run the ball down the middle. So, you know, every game we trying to stop the run. And we come out by starting off fast, and then this second half we got to start off a little faster. So moving forward, we put that in the past, and now we just got to hold it down up front in the trenches, offense and defense.
You guys have like a couple of new additions to the defensive line, but for the most part, it's pretty consistent. You were talking about kind of learning one another and everything. How much does that consistency help with that?
Say that again?
You were talking about like learning how to work together on the defensive line. There's a lot of consistency, a couple of new pieces, but a lot of consistency from last year to this year. How much does that help?
Yeah, like I said, last interview, it started off with the foundation that we built in OTAs. We was learning each other in OTAs. seeing like what we do best, and now it's just coming together, putting it all together as a team. So that's what training camp is for. We learning how to stop the run, like I said, pass rush together, and you just got to know your teammates. And we do a lot of stuff off the field, like go out to eat, spend time together, joke together. So we building that chemistry now. So on the field, it just take care of itself.
How much of that is aided by kind of the unique situation of being away from home out here, like y'all are always kind of together?
That's pretty big. We got time, to spend with each other. We really don't got our families right now, so that's training camp. We need this time away to enjoy ourselves and each other and get ready for the season. But like you said, we can't wait to get home, back to NOLA, get some good food, and see our people and then play in front of our home crowd.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, what's up? Nice to see you.
Just kind of going through the first game, watching the film, just kind of what's your main impression, main takeaways about where you guys stand like as an offense coming off that first game?
Plenty to clean up, right? Plenty of call them huddle errors, right? Tons of MEs, mental errors, pre-snap penalties, right? A lot of controllable things that, they played a base 3-4 defense, right? With outside linebackers, they switch it up and go to nickel. They play like a cover 3, 5-man rush, match type coverage. Like, it really doesn't get more basic than that. And we couldn't have had a more basic game plan, and there was still plenty of mistakes that are extremely avoidable, right? That's all the negatives. A lot of positives. 2 young quarterbacks played really well, got a lot of run, executed extremely well in difficult 2-minute situations. And there's a lot to be excited about. A lot of push from the offensive line. We got to run the ball better down in the red zone. Those are probably my main takeaways.
Is it more frustrating when it's the huddle errors and not like execution
errors? Way more frustrating because it's the most controllable thing you could have, and whether it's lack of being in your book or you're letting the game get to you, or you're tired and you get to the huddle and you don't hear the formation or the play call, you got to have the whole picture, right? And especially if we're going to play in the first 15 plays and we have 3 MEs in the first 10, it's like, we're killing ourselves, and either we're not taking it serious enough, or there's just too much to be said for things that are completely within our control in the National Football League.
With not having joint practices with San Francisco this week, like what do you all get out of those maybe that you don't in the normal, regular joint practice?
One more time.
Joint practices are not happening this week.
Okay.
So like when you do get those, like what do you get out of them? Like what?
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Sorry. Coming from a place of ignorance, I apologize. Yeah, those are extremely good opportunities to go against a different look, a different rush, a completely different unit with different play calls. A lot of defensive call, or a lot of defensive structure might be a little bit similar, but the calls and the way they play certain plays are completely different, right? Like their structure of defense, for me personally, their defensive ends are hard upfield rushers. They pick a spot and they rush up the field and they read to react, right? So that's a completely different look from what we just played, right? Where we're playing they're going to play a 4-3 scheme. We're going to play a 3-4 scheme this past week with the Cardinals, where these guys are strong 2-gap players, that rush 5 and have 6 deep in coverage, right? Well, these guys don't play like that. And Thursday and Friday would have been a tremendous opportunity for us to get that look. Obviously, they have just coming off of a Super Bowl berth. Tremendous opportunity. Sad we don't get that opportunity, but there will be plenty of chances on Sunday.
What do you make of Clint being in the booth to call plays? Did it affect anything on the field, or was it different for you guys?
Yeah, it was kind of all of our first runs at it. Most of the time, I've had the guys on the field calling the plays, but it was different. And credit to Clint, credit to Coach Janoko for a lot of that. Like quarterback coach exchange that's extremely important during dead balls and timeouts. There was a lot of good that came from it, and if that's where he's comfortable, that's the best place that he could be for us.
Outside the obvious, he's up farther. Like, what's different about it? Like, you just someone else to huddle. Like, you're going to Janoka now instead of the OC. Like, what's different?
Well, you're going to your position coach, right? And again, it's all coming from the same mouth, which is great. That's paramount. That's the most important thing. And that doesn't change when the OC's on the field or the head coach is the guy calling the offensive plays. Most of the times you're hearing it from the position coach because there's position-specific things that you need to know for each play, and he could always give you reminders for certain occurrences.
One of the things that Derek was talking about with this new coaching staff is that they're all on message. Yeah, it's like they're all saying the same thing. It's not just like you hear 20 different things. Like, is that important, and is that kind of impressed you as well?
No, it's vital. Again, like I just said, hearing one message from one mouth is extremely important because it builds culture, it builds accountability, it builds togetherness, like it builds camaraderie, it builds it's a team building exercise, right? So we're all hearing the same thing, we're all taking the same note, right? You could get the secondhand information, and that could be it could be better, but a lot of the times it could be a lot worse, just because you're not all hearing the same direct information. I love it. I love meeting together. I love hearing what Coach Shinoko's telling the quarterbacks on certain plays, like why this is a 7-step drop, who we're looking at first, what we're not trying to hit, when to roll, like when to look for roll coverage, different stuff like that. It's awesome to hear JB, the O-line coach, telling the tackles what they're looking for on some of our wide zone tracks. It's just fantastic to always be able to be in the know, right, and not go have to hunt down the information.
I feel like we've been talking a lot about Dallin Holker for this campus. Is there anything that's impressed you out here?
Yeah, and I think he's done a number of things to be talked about. I love the kid. Unbelievable coming in. He's got a great personality. He's quiet, but he has a great sense of humor, and he's a very, very good football player. And we're going to look for him to, grow into a role to have some impact this year. Would be my hope for him. I think he's got tremendous talent, great wheels, good head on his shoulders, and great hair to boot.
Anything else?
Thanks, guys.
I appreciate the ground fit today, man.
Yeah, bro. This is actually